Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to be looking over the new authentic decals for the last couple of weeks, and yes, I'm a little bit late on this one, but I think you can understand. Obviously, there's been a lot going on over the last few days, and I wanted to try and cover what I saw as the most, the news which would interest people a little bit more, and also the stuff that I was more interested in. So now, it's time to have a look at the new authentic decals, which once again, they've made a great decision on bringing back some old ones, so you can actually get them, from the past. I really like this setup. The fact that they're introducing new ones, but also bringing back old ones, means that individuals in the past who maybe didn't play the game or maybe missed them in the past can get them. It's a nice little scenario, and I'm hoping the same scenario can be expanded to other parts of the game, such as Warbond Shop decals and the like. Anyway, let's have a look at them. So the first one is the Black Scorpion emblem of the 64th FS, 57th FG, 12th AF, USAF. Then we have the Black Dragon emblem of the 303rd TFS, the 6th Air Wing of the JASDF, the emblem of the Swedish Army Academy, which is actually really nice. The Swedish decals, by the way, just as a side point, are really defined, I think is probably the way to put it. Like, they just look really nice in the game, have really sharp edges, and that is just really nice. It doesn't look great on vehicles, if I'm honest with you, because it kind of makes them stand out a lot more, where the decals feel like they're a little bit more blended into the vehicles, but still, I think they look really nice, just as specific pieces. The next one is the emblem of the 3rd Tactical Fighter Wing of the ROCAF. Then we have a dragon emblem of the 3rd Squadron of the Savoia Cavaliere Regiment. Then an elephant in the form of the 511th Combat Tank Regiment decal for France, the emblem of the Jagdgeschwader 3rd Tanzelwurm of the Luftwaffe. And then we have the snake, the personal emblem of Major Amathan Sultan, the 9th GVIAP in 1943, and the emblem of the 6th Airborne Division of Great Britain. All of these are really cool. I'm really happy to see them all. And also, one thing that is missing from this list, actually no, a few things that are missing from this list. No naval ones. These are all ground and air, and no helicopter ones either. So that's kind of sad in a way. I can understand the helicopter ones since, you have to be like rank 5 and above to be able to at least even attempt them, unless you want to GE them. But I think some naval ones should be thrown in, just because it is still, a decent game mode at the lower ranks, and I feel like it should be represented in these authentic decals instead of just putting them into air and ground. Even if it's just one decal out of, all of these that are added, there are like 5... there's 9 decals here, right? So one just being naval, I think, would at least show a little bit of representation, which I think would be nice. Anyway, let's have a look at them in game. Obviously, since the thing is from the 15th, I've already been grinding them out. But if you want to have a look where they are, they're over here, and you can see them. And there is one which you have to actually buy, I believe, which is the Scorpion. So that's 200 GE. I don't think it's the best decal out of all of them, but, if you want to pick it up, it will cost you 200 GE. You can either find them here under decals, or you can find them in your achievements, and then just go to decals, and then week's latest. Then you can favorite them, so you can add them to your drop down list over here, and it's just easier to be able to see what's going on. So let's go through them one by one, tell you what I use to do them, or how I would approach them when it comes to War Thunder. So the first one is the Black Dragon emblem. This is the Japanese one. You have to defeat 40 players from rank 2 to 7 in air vehicles of Japan. Now, this is also halved when it comes to RB, so you only need 20 kills overall. So it's really not a high task, if we're kind of honest, and Japan has so many good options in the air from rank 2 to 7 that you can pretty much pick any of them. This whole line here, apart from maybe the Key 43 Otsu and also the Tai, all of these are amazing planes. Over here you have all the zeros and the J2s as well. All you have to do is just pick ones which maybe aren't fully spaded or maybe a stock and grind out some of them, and in order to do, you know, the challenge so you can get some kills along the way, and also spade vehicles. If you want to do it how I did it, so I wanted, because my Japanese air tree, I only need 2 vehicles, and the 2 vehicles I'm not too interested in. I'm more interested in getting my ground, you know, ground out to try and get this Type 89 and Type 87. Because I feel like the 8-7 lineup would be really fun to play as Japan. And therefore, I was playing 7-7 and using the R2-Y2 and the kicker to be able to just bomb stuff and then play a superiority role. But the thing is, this one, understand it's just going to happen over time, you know, as long as you play air realistic or ground realistic and, you know, focus on trying to use planes. But you can use pretty much anything in these 2 lines and be successful. If I was going to pick certain planes to use over others, the J2M2 would be up there. I think it's I think it's actually the best plane at 4.3. It plays really well, great climb rates, great maneuverability, has a really good dive on it, and weapons to back it up. And if I was going to pick another one, it would probably be the Ki 84 Co, which once again has pretty much everything apart from low speed maneuverability, but you should never really be going slow in that plane. The next the next decal is a Swedish one, and once again, it's players defeated, 40, and you have to do it in ground vehicles of Sweden, ranked 2 to 7. So, Sweden is an interesting one. The way I did it personally is I have pretty much all of Sweden rank 1 to 4 spaded, so I pretty much just played the STR V103C, the VEEK and the UDES to try and get them spaded. I would not recommend doing the STR V103. It hurts to play. It really is a vehicle which struggles because of the hull aiming and not having access to maneuverability. Once you get the engine and also the transmission, it gets a lot better. That's my experience with the STR V103A, but it just hurts up to that point. What I would do is I would play probably a 3-7 or 4-0 with the PVKV, the PVKV2, and then also the L62. Or I would probably go with something like the 5-7 lineup with the STR-V74, PVKV M43, and probably the PVKV2 again. And once again, understand that you only need 20 kills in RB, so it's not exactly a tall task, it's not exactly a rough one to do. 20 kills you can easily get done in a day or two, and if, let's say, you average 2 kills a game, that's only 10 games, to be able to do it in. So use it to spade vehicles, use it to grind through maybe a tech tree that you haven't played yet, and just have a bit of fun. You know, you can also go down to rank 2 if you want, but I wouldn't recommend playing rank 2 Sweden. It's not very fun, and the only time that the vehicles are any good are when they're fully spaded and you get access to the the APDS round. The next one is the Chinese Air, and you need to play 5 missions and get 2,000 mission score. So this one is kind of an interesting one because there are different ways of doing it. And obviously I'm going to approach this from the realistic point of view. So it's only 5 missions, you don't have to win them either, so you can just play completely selfishly. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but the fact is, at the end of the day, you're trying to get your decal, so you have to focus on yourself. And the 2 ways to do it, which are the most efficient, is you either need to get normally about 3 kills in a realistic, so if you're comfortable in something like a P40E1 or a P47D or a P51 in getting something like 3 kills, and then maybe a couple of ground targets afterwards, then you should go for that. That's the carry mentality. You know, if you do that 5 times, you know, you'll probably win 5 matches, and you'll also get your 2,000 points each match. If you are a person who just wants to chill, or who wants to just kind of relax and do it without really thinking too much, the best way to do it is to take something like a Mosquito, which has a lot of ammo, or take something like an IL-10 1946 or a B-25, and just basically go ground pound. You know, take off, go after soft light targets and make sure it is in an area of the map which is away from the main combat area where normally people fight. Wait about 2 to 3 minutes around the area without hitting anything, because once you hit something, someone's going to notice and come over to where you are. So wait 2 or 3 minutes. And then once the enemy and your allies start engaging, hit ground targets, hit AAs, hit artilleries, and you'll need probably around about 20 to 30 ground targets in order to get the 2000. So that is the way that you can do it if you just want to passively grind. Like, let's say you need to spade out your Mosquito or your B25, or maybe you just want to do it in a normal plane, but it's definitely not as easy to do in something like a Key 61 or a P40. Obviously, the lower BR you go, the easier it will be to carry from the air with the kills, so stuff like the P40 is recommended. If you want to do the ground striking thing, I would say the Mosquito is probably the best option out of them, or maybe the F84, but I don't think it has enough ammo to be able to justify it. So yeah, that's how I would do that decal for the Chinese, and I'll probably be doing it today. The next one is missions played, and this is for Air Vehicles Germany, and you need the place in the team #1. So missions played is obviously, once again, you don't have to win, so you don't have to worry about winning, and therefore you can just focus on getting first in the team. The best way, and realistic, to get first in the team is to ground pound. And I know it's sad to say, but it's much more beneficial. You know, if you are really sure in your carry abilities, right, and there are some machines that I definitely am. So if I look at like my German statistics, one of the things that really strike out is stuff like the BF109 G2 Trop, right? Like I have a 3-to-1 KD in it. Stuff like the BF109 E3, the HE100, you know, I have a 5-to-1 in that. I have like a 3-to-1 in the C202, you know, stuff like that. 33 and 6 in the Focke-Wulf 190. So if I wanted to get first place, you're probably going to need to get maybe 3 kills in aircraft, 3 or 4 kills to be able to guarantee it, and that's if somebody isn't ground pounding. So what I would say is if you wanted to do that, get in something like the HE100, get in something like the early BF109s. I actually think the BF109 E1, oh, unfortunately it's rank 1, well you can't use that. So something like the BF109 E3 or the BF109 E4 are really beautiful aircraft to fly. They don't have the best ammunition out there, and they don't have the best guns, but they generally will get the job done. So getting first place, you know, you either have to bank on yourself getting that amount of kills, or you can pretty much use something like a BF110 with a ton of ammunition, and once again just ground pound for a bit. Basically the same idea that I was talking about with the Chinese, but just do it with the Germans. Do it to a point where you can just, you know, smash them on the ground and do a ton of damage with a lot of their guns. Obviously, the lower BR you go, the better, so C7 is the choice. Bomb maybe a base, or bomb a pillbox, and take out AA and artillery. And once you get maybe 15 to 20 ground targets, you're pretty much guaranteed first place, unless the game extends longer, and then, well, you'll have more time to gain first place, you know, by hitting ground targets. It's a little bit annoying sometimes, because you'll have non-starter games, where you'll spawn in, you'll do some damage to the AI, but then you'll get jumped by somebody. But at the end of the day, you know, as long as you switch your brain off and you just use it as kind of a grinding experience to get yourself SL or to get something spaded, it won't be too bad for you. The next one is Air Vehicles Soviets, and it's the same thing, but missions played 6. So this one, you need to do it for Germany. This one, you need to do it for the Soviets. So for the Soviets, it's a little bit harder, because the Soviets don't have very high ammo counts on pretty much anything when it comes to their ground vehicles. Like you can see, the IL-2s, I suppose, have, you know, 1,500 rounds of 7.62, but the 7.62 isn't the best, you know, over actually killing ground targets, so you generally use more than you would something, let's say, like a 50 cal. So you can either do the same method that we talked about, take out an IL-2 1941, which is probably your best bet, or something like a 1942, and just rinse a bunch of ground targets, use those 23s on the 42 to kill pillboxes, and use the Shikasses to kill light targets, and then just, you know, get maybe 15 to 20 ground kills, and you're pretty much guaranteed first place. Or you can try and carry in some lower tier stuff. The MiG-315 is... Does it really have that much ammo? Holy Jesus. The MiG-315 at 1.7 at rank 2 is a really easy machine to carry with. It's one of those machines which I feel has escaped a lot of BR changes, and being at 1.7, you get put up against a lot of vehicles at 2.0, which you can easily deal with. There are a few which are a little bit dodgy, like the CW21, but overall, with the MiG-315, you can deal with anything. The MiG-315 BK is the same thing. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you take the Yak-1, still a very good plane, but at the same time you get a lot less ammo. So, you know, once again, same method as Germany. If you feel confident in something like a Yak-1, or something like, you know, something like a lower tier vehicle, like you can see my Yak-1, I have like a 10 to 1 KD in the damn thing. If you feel confident in machines in the air, then make sure to get you 3 to 4 kills, get you guaranteed first place, and remember you don't have to win, but if you don't, just whap out an IL-2, you know, and just get your first place that way, get 15 to 20 ground kills. The next ones, so we have the emblem of the 6th Armored Division. This is just capture zones, so very similar to the top two that we talked about. These are not hard things, they just take time, so take out any, you know, lineup that you want for Britain. The 3.7 one for me with the Cromwells and the Sherman 2 and the 2 premium aircraft is always a happy, it always gives me happy memories to play. So generally I whap this one out in order to get the caps, because you can run around with the Cromwells, get like 2 to 3 caps a game, and therefore you can get it as quick as possible. The other thing as well is this lineup prints money. So you can see here 36k, 47k, then you have 31k in a defeat, 50k, and then 8,000 where I got bapped. So the thing is, this this lineup prints money, so you can just run around and do really well, and the repair costs are really low on them. So yeah, you can do that, or you can, you know, use the opportunity to spade vehicles, or play a bit of high tier and get like the initial cap on a map and then play from there, which is generally what I do with some other things. So if you feel like spading, I don't know, if you have like a vehicle which is like this lineup for me, like where I have the Roycat and also the Striker, and I want to spade these vehicles, then just make sure that you get a cap a game. That is 30 games, and by that point you probably have like a half spaded rank 6 vehicle, and you know, so you're a lot ahead of the curve. Instead of just getting the caps and SL, you're now actually researching vehicles as you're going. The next one is the Dragon Emblem. You need 40 kills, ground vehicles Italy. Once again, just use this opportunity to spade some vehicles. I use the opportunity to try and get the M47 105 done. I don't particularly enjoy the 105. I think the 040 is a lot better, but then if I play the 105, it gives me good RP towards my row more. So wherever you are in the tree, just make sure that you're using these decals as a way to be able to grind better. So instead of focusing on the grind, you focus on the decal, and 20 kills in ground RB ain't too much. So, you know, focusing on that is much better than focusing on like 180,000 RP or 390,000 RP in some cases. So yeah, I basically just played this lineup, my 7.7s, tried to get my M47 more spaded, and I'm pretty close to finishing it, and I'll be happy when I finish it so I don't have to use it again. But the main thing to understand is, yeah, it's all about trying to balance the idea of grinding and also getting the decal done, because these decals, like, you're going to do them over time. They don't require a lot of skill. Even if you only get 1 kill every 2 games, you'll eventually get these. You know, it'll just take you more time. It's not something that you're gated by having to get like first in the team like these ones, where you actually have to use specific vehicles. These ones you can just grind as you go and you'll get them. Same with the last one as well. So ground vehicles for France, players defeated, once again 40. So you need 20 kills in RB. I used my B2, and once again, used this opportunity to be able to get some modifications on it. Really enjoyed the B2 so far, with the rank 2 APF SDS, and also it has access to thermals, so yeah, this is going to be a treat once I get it, decently upgraded. You can see already with the B2, oh, where is it at? yeah, like 18 and 13 and haven't got a ton of mods on it, that's pretty good in my opinion. You know, normally I like to go like 50% on a vehicle, like, you know, well, 1-to-1 KD I should say, and then once I get it fully spaded, then the KD takes over. And also, just make sure that you're researching efficiently while you're doing these decals as well. So these two, you'll do over time. These two, you'll also do over time. This one, you're going to have to put a little bit of nous in it, but not too much. The two main ones, which are harder, obviously these two, and you will have to do specific techniques with it. And once again, the British one is also just one done over time. So that is all of the authentic decals for the next few weeks. As I said, authentic decals are a great way to not focus on the grind and instead focus on doing the decals instead, since they, you know, compartmentalize the grind. And also, you get some cool decals out of it, so why not do it? I hope you have enjoyed this video. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Ambrosius McClellan, B. Young, Blackie, Chris Giltnane, Conte Baraka, Daniel Stanton, Elove Goat, Jay Wilt, Martinez, Trigger Hippie, Eugene's Terry, and also Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.